Telepresence in art. So I want to look at several projects that were created that deal with telepresence but were produced in an artistic venue or an artistic space. The first is the Telegarden by Ken Goldberg. He created a web space where you had control of a robotic arm that was able to plant and water and tend a garden. The idea being that you signed up and you took care of this plant. You could watch it grow over time. You could make sure that it was properly nourished. One of the questions that this brought up was a question of authenticity. So like going back or looking back at Lonely Girl 15, when it first came out, nobody knew that it was a fake. But as it sort of evolved, the question of authenticity came into it as the fiction evolved more. And you sort of wonder like how that affected the young man's suicide on Justin TV. If people had known that it was real, would they have reacted differently? But the purpose of this then is to sort of connect us through the experience of planting and create a sort of a Zen-like form of a robot arm inside of this natural space. The next project is Vectorial Elevation by Rafael Lozano Hammer. And it's not immediately clear how this is a telepresence project to start with, but let's look at the video here. So in the video, we see this tremendous sort of light sculpture that's taking place in Vancouver for the Olympics. And what this has been programmed by people who visited the website and chose where they wanted these searchlights to be in the sky. Now, the people didn't have much control over when their part of the light show took place, but the website basically takes a picture at that point in time and emails the person who programmed it. So, in a sense, you do have this control over this other space. You do have this sort of sense of action at a distance. The last project that I want to look at is Rara Avis by Eduardo Katz. And this project is interesting for several reasons, in the sense that it creates a virtual space within the gallery, within a cage. There are like 20 or 30 birds, and then there's also a robotic bird. And people are invited to move up to the cage and put on this headset. When you put on the headset, then you find you're looking through the eyes of the bird. Now, you're not the only person looking through the eyes of the bird. The bird's eyes are being broadcast also to the World Wide Web. You have this sense of like both being the observer and being the observed. You have this sense of being if you're remote, you have a sense of the space. You're communing both with the birds in the cage, but your physical body is outside of the cage itself. So, in conclusion, I want to point out that it's most important, like, who's watching. A lot of these projects, particularly, are very playful when it comes to the ideas of observation. And in fact, we've seen with the millions of views that like Lonely Girl gets and GennyCam, that it is actually fun to watch people. It's fun to see people living their lives and like sort of being just normal, everyday humans. In the end, cameras are everywhere, and I don't want to sound defeatist, but there's not very much we can do about it. what we want to do is cultivate our awareness, cultivate them as like tools for use in art, and get back the material that's being collected.